When you can stop avoiding negative emotion, your life stops shrinking. When you allow negative emotion, your life expands. Most of you do not quit because the goal is too hard. You quit because the emotion is too hard. Okay? Different problem. Hello, everybody. Happy New Year's Eve. It is Emily, your host. Welcome back to the podcast. It's crazy to think that I started the podcast in 2025 this year. It was a really big goal of mine. And here we are about to step into 2026 tomorrow. And I have a gift for y'all. Before we step into 2026, I want to give you a gift that is going to change the way that you set goals forever, but especially for 2026, because the truth is that you don't fail your goals because you're unmotivated or you're undisciplined or you're bad at follow through. You fail your goals because your nervous system wasn't set up to support the identity that you're trying to grow into. That's it, okay? And every year, millions of people set New Year's resolutions. On January 1st, everybody's setting their goals for the year. And by February 1st, a lot of those goals are gone. A lot of those goals aren't met by the end of the year. And it's not because the goals weren't good, but because no one ever taught us how to feel the emotions that show up when it's time to do the things that lead to the goal. So today I'm giving you this gift, okay? So last year at the beginning of 2025, I did a New Year's goal setting workshop. There was a paid workshop that people paid to join and everybody loved it. I got amazing feedback. And so I'm actually going to do that workshop for you, a condensed version of it on this episode to help you set New Year's goals. I want to teach you exactly my framework for setting goals, okay? So this episode is going to be a little bit of coaching and also a little bit of workshopping. So if you want to watch me draw this out, this is actually going to be on YouTube, which is a fun 2026 thing that we are leaning into at Be That Girl Coaching. So we are going to be leaning into YouTube. So this is going to be on video. We are going to be posting to YouTube regularly, a couple times a month at least. And I'm going to be drawing out during this episode. So you can absolutely listen, podcast, AirPod in your ear, or you can head over to YouTube and you can see what I'm drawing on the board. Okay. Keep listening no matter what. I'm going to walk you through it. So let's jump in. So first, I want to talk about why traditional goal setting doesn't work for people, because everyone loves to set goals. It's actually a part of the way that humans are designed. Like we're designed to set goals and to work towards goals. Your brain loves the idea of a fresh start, but goals are not the problem, okay? Your capacity to hold yourself through uncomfortable emotions is the problem. Because when you set goals, uncomfortable emotions are going to emerge, right? Because goals are something big that hasn't happened yet, and it requires doing uncomfortable things. And so you can create, the perfect plan. Some of y'all are going to be like, I'm going to work out, or I'm going to meal plan, or I'm going to meal prep, or I want to do this in order to grow my business. Like this is the revenue. This is the bigger revenue goal that I want to jump into in 2026. Or you can say like, I'm going to be more patient with my kids this year, or I'm going to be more organized this year. But what happens the moment that discomfort shows up? Because in order to get your home organized, what do you have to do? You have to clean out, purge, organize. Not so fun. What happens when you're not patient with your kids, right? We have these moments of discomfort that show up. And your brain says, this is too hard. I don't have time. I'll start over on Monday. I deserve a break. Let me just check my email really quick instead of doing this hard thing that was on my list today. And that is not lack of discipline. That is unprocessed nervous system activation, okay? Because your brain is wired to seek pleasure, to avoid pain, and to conserve energy, okay? Meaning your brain is always going to resist the actions required for growth unless you start training it and rewiring it differently, which is what I work with so many of my clients on, okay? And so that's why today's episode is not just a goal setting workshop, it's a nervous system workshop disguised as goal setting, okay? So I want to talk about kind of 4 domains for 2026 that you can goal set in. Okay. So grab a journal, grab a pen and paper. I want you to write these down. I'm going to write them on my board. I'm going to draw a big circle on my board and I'm going to divide it into 4 categories. Okay. So we have these 4 domains that we're going to use for goal setting. Okay. These 4 domains represent the primary nervous system load centers in your life. So if you think about like the mental load, the capacity that your body, your brain has to handle on a daily basis, it's going to fall into one of these 4 places, okay? So the first one is everything that you need to do when it comes to your body and your health, okay? Everything you need to do when it comes to your body and your health. So this is your physical well-being. This is your energy. This is your sleep. This is strength. This is hormones. This is vitality, okay? The second domain that a lot of your energy falls into is relationships and home. So this could be relationships with your spouse or your partner. This could be relationships with your children. This could be friendships. This could be relationship with extended family, your parents, and also your home, right? This could be the emotional labor that it takes, that your home takes a toll on you because it feels messy and chaotic and your kids are always, being messy. It's your home environment, right? This is partnership. This is motherhood. This is friendships, right? So that is the second area, relationships and home. The third area, the third domain is work and wealth. So if you're a business owner, work would be your business. If you work for somebody else, obviously that's your career. And then wealth is your money goals. It's your systems. So work and wealth is like leadership capacity. It's working towards those wealth goals, making money. It's all of that. So work and wealth. And the final domain, which I think some of y'all probably will be a little bit surprised at this one, your final domain is fun and fulfillment. Some of you are like, yeah, it's definitely don't prioritize that. Okay. So fun and fulfillment is joy. It's things that bring you joy. It's creativity. It's your hobbies. It's fun. It's adventure. It's play. These 4 categories up here hold 99% of the stressors that you navigate daily. They also hold 99% of the visions that you pick for your life, right? And so for today's episode, I want you to just pick one of these 4. Maybe it's body and health as you're going into the new year. Maybe it's your work and your wealth. Maybe you've been really focused on work and wealth and you're like, I need more fun and fulfillment in my life. I want you to hear something really loud and clear. All of these are equally important because a lot of you are like, fun and fulfillment, that's going to come last. That actually ultimately is probably the thing that leads to better relationships, better work and wealth, better body and health. So do not discount that one, okay? So for today's episode, I want you to pick one. Not the giant list, not 10 things. I want you to pick one of these corners, one of these domains, one area that you're going to focus on for the first 90 days of 2026. Okay. Now pause the episode right now if you need to, as you're like thinking about like which one you want to pick, because we're going to be diving into the next thing, right? Okay, great. Okay. So now you're choosing your 2026 quarter 1 goal. And I want you to think about this visual of a mountain. A lot of people, when they're picking a goal they think that the journey towards that goal should be just like up one way, linear. So we think about a mountain, we think about going straight up the mountain. That's a myth that most people believe. It's like, if I want something, the journey should look like a straight line up. But the real path, okay, the real path when you are working towards a goal looks like this. It's like you go up a little and then you go down. And then you might go up a little and then you go really down. And then you go up, and then you go down. And then you go up and then you go down, up again. So it really is not linear. You have plateaus, you have to climb. There's big climbs, there's drops, there's peaks. Not because you're doing it wrong, but because you're becoming somebody new while you're climbing this mountain. And so before we climb the mountain, before we set the goal, we start climbing towards that goal, I want you to orient yourself. Like, where am I right now? Have I tried to climb this mountain before? Have I picked this goal before and have I tried to climb it? Where did I quit along the way? What emotions took me out last time? This is a really good time to pause and write down that. What emotions took me out last time? This becomes your roadmap, okay? Because we need to understand why you quit. And that has to do with your nervous system, okay? So let's talk about why you didn't hit the goals last year, okay? You didn't fail your goals because you lacked willpower, right? You quit because you didn't want to feel discomfort. You didn't want to feel overwhelmed. You didn't want to feel boredom. You didn't want to feel frustration. You didn't want to feel fear. And so every time you set a goal, your brain generates an automatic thought based on your past experience. Oh, working out's really, really hard. That's way too hard. That's never worked for me before. There's no way I'm going to stick to that. I don't have time for that. You feel already behind. And because that thought that you have automatically about the goal you're setting, it creates a feeling. And usually that feeling, that emotion, is an uncomfortable one. And so because we don't want to feel the frustration or the boredom or the fear or the discomfort or the overwhelm, what do? We buffer. We scroll our phones. We clean out a pantry. We snack. We overwork. We drink alcohol, right? You open your laptop instead of going to the gym. You check one more email instead of sitting on the floor with your kids. And the key is that your buffering is not a time problem. It's a nervous system problem, okay? It is a nervous system problem. So I want you to take your goal and write down every action. And this is when you're really going to have to pause. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your goal and I want you to write down every action you need to take to reach that goal. Okay. So if it's a work example, if you're like, I want to launch a podcast this year, I'm just using that because that was one of my goals for 2025. It was like, what are the things I need to do in order to launch a podcast? It's like, I need downloading software. I need a mic. I need to order a camera. I need, editing software, whatever it is that you need. You need to find somebody that does podcast editing if you're not going to do it yourself. Write down every single thing you need to do. Maybe if you have like a revenue goal that you want to hit in 2026, write down every single thing you need to do in order to hit that revenue goal. Maybe it's like, I need to do 2 webinars every single month. I need to DM 5 new people every single day to like get in conversation with people that are interested in working with me. I need to post three reels a week. I need to plan content on Sundays. Could look like that, okay? Health example. Maybe if you want to lose weight, maybe you need to meal prep every single Sunday. You need to do 4 workouts a week. You need to drink a certain amount of water. You need to have your lights off by 9 p.m., right? I need you to write down every single thing that you need to do in order to hit the goal that you're setting. Now pause this and do that. And then whenever you come back to press play, we're going to dive into the next part. And here's the part that people hate, okay? But you must hear, okay? So step 1 is that after you list every single thing you need to do is you have to calendar it. Okay? You have to calendar it. If it is not on the calendar, it's not real. And so if you need to do 2 webinars a month for the next year, you better look at your calendar for the next 12 months and schedule when those 2 webinars are going to be every single month. And then you better backtrack and be like, when am I going to start promoting those webinars? What is my marketing calendar around those webinars? When do I need to send emails? Like you have to put it on your calendar or it's not real. Number 2 is I want you to expect resistance. Your brain is going to panic when you're about to do something new. It is. Not because you're weak, because your brain loves homeostasis. Your brain loves homeostasis. It doesn't want to do anything new. It likes to do things the way it always has done. So if you've never done a webinar and now you have 2 on your calendar every month, your brain is going to tell you all the reasons why you shouldn't do it. No one's going to show up. It's pointless. Like it's literally going to go on and on. What if you fail? What if nobody buys? What if? Okay? Your brain loves homeostasis. So the next key, after you expect the resistance, step 3 is to feel now. Feel it burn, baby. This is the part that I want you to tattoo on your forehead, okay? Feel now, not feel better fast. Because most of you live your life where you're just trying to feel better. You just want to feel better. If you feel bad when you wake up, you're trying to do anything you can to feel better. You're like, let me drink caffeine, it'll make me feel better. Let me eat snacks, that'll make me feel better. Let me work, because overworking makes me feel safe. Let me drink wine, because that takes the edge off and that makes me feel better. Nobody's trying to feel now. Everybody's just trying to feel better. And when it's time to follow through with the things that you're putting on your calendar, you're going to feel dread. You're going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to feel resistance. You're going to feel insecurity. You're going to feel imposter syndrome. You're going to feel fear. And I want you to know that nothing has gone wrong when you feel all of those feelings. These are not signs to stop. These are signs that you're expanding your nervous system's capacity, okay? These are not signs to stop. These are signs that you are expanding your nervous system's capacity. And when you allow the emotion, I always say, open your hands, baby, palms up. When you allow the emotion to be there, when you allow the fear to be there without making it wrong, when you allow the frustration, when you allow the resistance, when you allow the dread, the overwhelm, when you allow all those feelings to be there without making them wrong, you are actually start creating an entirely new identity, okay? I want you to imagine a feelings wheel. And I used to have one, and I wish I had it right now so I could show you all on the camera. You can Google. You can go to like humanemotionswheel.com, I think, or just Google one. A human emotions wheel shows every single emotion that the human race is capable of feeling, okay? I want you to imagine the feelings wheel, all the emotions humans can have, okay? There's like sadness and anxiety, and there's happiness and joy and anger and surprise and exhaustion and all of these different emotions, right? None of these emotions are bad, even though humans have decided that many of them have negative connotations, right? None of the emotions you feel on a human emotions wheel mean you're off track. None of them mean something is wrong with you. And if you look at a human emotions wheel, something that you're going to notice is that 70% of the emotions on that wheel are negative. 70% of the emotions on a human emotions wheel are negative. Only like 30% are positive. Yet we only ever want to feel positive ones. That's where we're always trying to feel better. But we're not trying to just feel now. And when you can stop avoiding negative emotion, your life stops shrinking. When you allow negative emotion, your life expands. Most of you do not quit because the goal is too hard. You quit because the emotion is too hard. Okay? Different problem. I always say that an emotion is the hardest thing that you will ever have to deal with in your whole life. A negative emotion is the hardest thing you'll ever have to handle in your life. Think about every bad thing that's ever happened in your life. Why was it so bad? It was bad because of the emotion you felt from that thing. One of my mentors always says, she who can feel it all can have it all. If you can feel every emotion without collapsing and spiraling, if you can feel every emotion without making it wrong, you truly can have it all. You quit because the emotion is hard, not because the goal is hard. Okay. And now that we know it's a different problem, that the emotion is hard, there's actually a different solution. Okay. There's a different solution here. So come back to this 2026 goal that you set for yourself in that quadrant, and ask yourself, like, who am I going to become on the way to this goal? Who am I going to become? What feelings am I going to feel on the way to this goal? What should I expect to feel? The truth is that the actual goal that you're working for, whether it's like something, around, health, or something around, work and wealth, or fun and fulfillment, whatever it is, the actual goal is not the point. The identity is the point. Who you're becoming every single day as you are working towards that goal is the point. Reaching it actually is not the point. The capacity you're building along the way is the point. The emotional resilience you build along the way is the point. And when you build those things, when you build identity and capacity and emotional resilience, the goal becomes the result. Hitting the goal becomes inevitable. Okay? So if you're listening to this and it is New Year's Eve and you're like, gosh, like I want to do 2026 different, I really hope you use this framework to figure out why you're being held back. And if you're listening to this and thinking like, I've never set goals this way, this actually makes so much sense why I've never reached the goals I set. And if you're thinking, if I could just master the emotional part, I would do 2026 so differently, then I want to invite you to take the next step with me in 2026. This is the work that I do inside my programs with my clients. It's also the work that I'm going to introduce you to in a brand new challenge that is launching very soon. It is the Regulate to Elevate Challenge, and I'm going to be helping high-performing women build nervous system capacity, follow through without burnout, expand their emotional resilience, create lives and businesses that they are proud of by making more money, by impacting more people. So if you want that kind of support, the deep kind that actually rewires your patterns, I would love for you to join. It is in the show notes. Thank you all so much for coming today. Happy New Year. And I can't wait to see all of you in 2026.